Welcome back to the concert hall tonight. Our special guests, City and Color and Dallas Green. Dallas, welcome, and it's great to have you here.
Thanks, nice. Thanks for having me.
Now, you played a show a couple of weeks ago at Massey Hall, which is a legendary Toronto concert venue, and you told this really nice story about how you started your first performance in public, or before people at least, and it involved a high school teacher who was inspirational to you and kind of launched you on the path that you're on now. Tell us that story for those of us who weren't at Massey Hall that night.
Well, when I was in high school, I started playing guitar when I was about 8 years old. Mm-hmm. My parents got me lessons. And then once I sort of had the grasp of it, I stopped taking lessons and just kind of...
Worked it.
Yeah, I just tried to like listen to my favorite songs and figure them out by ear and stuff. And that whole time I was singing as well, but I was afraid to sing in front of anyone because...
Because it's scary.
It is scary, and especially if you're not classically trained. Like if you're not, I didn't take vocal lessons or anything like that. So I knew I could sort of play guitar, but I didn't know that I could sing. Like it sounded as if I was singing along correctly with the CDs,
but you're never really sure, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So what happened? How did she push you off the dock?
I think it was about grade 10 or 11. I was, whenever we would have like class projects in English class, I would, like whenever we'd have a group, I would immediately say, well, why don't we'll write a song and I'll bring my guitar in and you guys can be goofy and I'll play music to it, you know, or whatever we have to sing about or whatever. So I had brought my guitar in a couple times, and then one time I was, class had ended and I was just sitting at the back of the class by myself, sort of singing and strumming. And Mrs. Modelow, that's her name, she heard me singing and she said, what's that? And I was like, oh, I'm just singing, you know, and then she was like, well, you should sing in front of the class. And I was like, absolutely not. There's no way.
Natural response.
Yeah. And, you know, I think I had braces at the time and stuff. And I was just like, come on, I'm not singing.
Teenage nightmare so far.
So a couple days would go by, and every so often she would say, you're going to sing in front of the class. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. And then it got near the end of the year. It was in the summer. And she was like, okay, last week of school, I've set it up so one day instead of having class, you're gonna do a concert for us.
Nice.
In room 114. And I was like, not room 114, because that was like the audio-visual room, right. You know?
Oh, did it have risers?
Well, yeah, you know, so then I went, and I was like, okay, I guess I got to do it. So I learned a bunch of covers and stuff, like, you know, like Weezer songs and things that were popular at the time. And I sang in front of the class. And
do you remember if that was the time when you thought, you know, actually, I'm going to do this?
I think so. Once I finally got, like, I knew I always wanted to play guitar for people.
Yeah.
But once I finally sang in front of people and people didn't hate it, I was like, okay, well, here, I'm going to start writing songs, and here we go.
So we owe Mrs. Metella with thanks.
Yes,
she's not here tonight, but she's probably watching.
Yeah.
So for people who haven't... Let Mrs. Metella get her applause. For people who haven't heard Alexis on Fire, it's a screamcore band. It's screamo. They're screaming in the...
They're screaming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Alexis on Fire, it's like sort of learning that maybe Joan Jett is Katie Lang. They're sonically worlds apart. Well, and I'm wondering how those two fairly contrasting musical poles coexist for you.
I mean, since I started playing guitar, I was always into playing electric guitar loud in my room.
Because it's fun.
It's great. Distortion pedal, you know?
Sure.
I remember when I got my first distortion pedal, I was like, oh, this is good. This is loud and good. So I've always...
And not that hard.
Yeah. I've always really enjoyed aggressive music, you know? And, but I've always also enjoyed singing softly with my acoustic guitar. Mostly, I think, because when I first started playing, I didn't have anyone to play with. So I just sat in my room and played acoustic guitar and sang. And it just, I guess it just so happens that that side of me got popular first.
Right.
You know, and that's why
the Alexis on Fire side, you mean?
Yeah, Alexis on Fire.
But is it like a different musical personality? Because Alexis on Fire is, I mean, the energy and the vibe is completely different. And
it is, but I'm the one who brings the melody to the Alexis on Fire. Still,
yeah,
I'm the one who always says, well, what about me singing this part? Or, what about adding this little soft part on that you know?
Yeah.
So that's sort of my input into it. So I always just look at it like if you just turn the volume down, that's kind of, it's me, you know? I mean,
you end up with City and Color.
Some people think, the best is when people think that I'm the guy who's screaming.
Yeah, no, like, we're bursting that myth. That's not you.
I can't believe that's you screaming, and then you sound like this. And I'm like, it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
I'm the guy who's singing in that band. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, how about some more singing?
I'd love to.
All right, City and Color, Dallas Green at the Concert Hall.